What's he singing about?
Another ancient story about the Polutropos. A man of many wanderings, a great captain. He saved the world from a deadly enemy. And then he vanished.
How long you known about me?
I wasn't sure until now. But I had my doubts. Does Cali know? It's not my business. You wanted to disappear, and you did. But the world is in trouble again. You see it.
Well, don't play in the hero, Alex.
Bullshit. You cannot run from your destiny, Tom. Because you are who you are.
Welcome to Build, Eric. This is so great to have you here.
Thank you. This is such a great space.
Yes, isn't it?
Wonderful, yeah.
It's your first time here?
My first time here.
Yeah, well, welcome. We were just talking backstage, like, everyone loves Eric Dane, right? Right? That's how we feel about it.
Thank you. My self-esteem is...
That's what we try to do here. All right, so congratulations on what's going to be the 4th season of The Last Ship on TNT. I want to talk about what to expect, but before we do, I'd love to catch everybody up on where we left off at the end of season 3, because a lot of changes for your character.
Yes. Yes. Where we left off in season 3, Tom Chandler left the Navy after doing something that he felt was morally sort of way against everything he stood for. And he's in a self-imposed exile. We find him in Greece, living the humble life of a fisherman. And it's only a matter of time before, you know, he finds some trouble, because Tom Chandler's really good at finding trouble. Now, the virus it started out Plant Kingdom, the original first season, jumped to humans through birds, but now it's back to plants, so it's decimated all the crops across the world, and the world's starving, dealing with famine.
Yeah, so a lot of stuff going on. So you left the Navy, and then when we pick up on season 4, we're going to see you in Greece, correct? And
well, it was actually Malibu.
Yeah,
but
it sure looked like Greece in that clip.
It's Greece.
So they do a pretty good job of making it look like it's Greece.
They do. We tried to budget for Greece, and we thought about going to Greece, and I thought it was going to happen, and then at the last minute they said, why don't we just do Thousand Oaks? It's like, sure.
It's my backyard. It's okay. So the tagline for season 4, I believe, is "Reap what you sow." How does that come into play during the 4th season?
Well, there is it's a whole agricultural thing, and Tom Chandler has to sort of find his way back in to the Navy, to the fray, dealing and being accountable and responsible for what happened at the end of season 3.
Got it. I feel like Tom Chandler is pretty much a badass on this show. How would you describe him?
That he's a badass.
Yeah.
That they do a good job making me look much more badass than I am. But he is. He's also, you know, he's also a very conflicted, reluctant hero, which I find to be interesting. He doesn't want any part of, you know, being that guy. And through circumstances beyond his control, he always finds himself right there.
What part of him do you relate to?
I guess I relate to the conflict a lot. You know, there's a lot of things about Tom Chandler that aren't me, but there are some things that, you know, and you can't help as an actor bringing some of yourself to the role. But I like to think of myself as a very sincere, honorable person, and I think Tom Chandler has those qualities.
He's a hero in many ways, would you say?
That's how they write him, yeah. It's very heroic.
He's very heroic. How do you feel like the character has changed now going into, you know, the 4th season from season 1 to now?
You know, I think he's learned to trust his intuition, his gut. You know, he was kind of working without a net for the first couple seasons. And I think he got used to that. And the problem with that is in dealing with the Navy, there's still a chain of command and a structure and a protocol and a level of decorum that you have to maintain that he's, so far removed from that what's normal to him sort of clashes with everything that stands for.
You work pretty closely with the Navy, right?
We do.
Yeah, can you talk a little bit about that and what that relationship has been like?
Well, yeah, our scripts go to the Pentagon before they go to me, and they want to make sure that everything is on the up and up before they sign off on it. And they've been tremendously giving with their resources and their time. We go down to San Diego and shoot on actual naval destroyers. We've been underway on these ships. And we use a lot of their personnel when we need to, because after all, if you're in CIC, which is Combat Information Center, and you have a guy who's working some piece of equipment, who better to have that there than the guy who actually does it. And they have fun. They're just as interested in our world as we are in theirs. But it's a good time, it's cool. It's like I get to play, cowboys and Indians every day. It's fun.
What's been the biggest challenge going into this character or on set?
For me, it's a physical thing,
Yeah.
because it's a physically demanding role. And it's a lot of hard work. And I enjoy it, but at the end of the day, you get home, you actually, feel like you worked.
Sure, yeah. Do you feel like the character is what a lot of the fans relate to? Because this show has been resonating. It just got picked up for already a 5th season now. We're
shooting the 5th season right now.
Yeah, so why do you think it's resonating so much with so many people?
I think while the circumstances are sensational, it is television, and we take creative license with certain things. But I feel like most of it's rooted in reality and science, and we try to keep it as real as possible. And I think people sort of gravitate towards authenticity.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like you ever get a chance to weigh in on any of the script writing or story ideas or anything?
Well, I come from Shondaland.
Yeah.
And the script is the Bible, and I was trained well over there. So I don't like to change much. I always find it interesting when actors get on stage and we're doing a rehearsal and they look at their lines and they say, my character wouldn't say this. And I've never yet seen a writer come up to the actor and go, no, your character does say it right there, Right. It's like, well, what do you think you should say? Well,
so it's safe to say, would you ever be interested in doing any writing, behind-the-scenes work?
I'm not a writer. I was thinking about directing an episode of The Last Ship, season 5. But it's a huge undertaking to act in the episode, prep the episode you're going to direct and act in the episode, and then cut the episode while you're acting in the next episode. And I don't have the time for that.
You're like, forget that, no time. Well, you got to be, you got to be Chandler.
Right.
You have that, all those.
Can you write me out of an episode? Not really.
Well, that's what is it day in and day out being, we of course know you from Grey's Anatomy, but what's it been like being on this type of show with the hours? You have a family. I know you didn't go to Greece, but you're still, it's pretty long
still
days.
like I've gone on location at times because I'm out of the house before they wake up and I'm home after they're asleep sometimes.
Yeah.
But there's a balance. The production's really good about making sure I don't get burnt out. So I get to spend a lot of time. We work weekdays, so I obviously get weekends with my family. But I'm down in Culver City.
Yeah.
They can come visit whenever they want.
You like around? Do your kids come to the set?
They do.
Yeah. What do they think?
I brought Billy. We went down to San Diego a couple weeks ago, and I brought my oldest daughter Billy down with me. Right after we got there, she hooked up with the hair and the makeup department, and so I didn't
know right where to go.
Yeah, and I didn't see her, and I was just happy that she was comfortable with the people I work with, and I didn't see her for a couple hours, but I did notice on set there were people walking around, crew members with really strange hairstyles. Like this one dude had like 6 ponytails, one guy had a mohawk, and I stopped and I said, "What's up with your hair, man?" He said, "Well, your daughter's running around doing everybody's hair."
That's great. Well, she fit right in.
Yeah.
It's pretty incredible. So, and how old are they now?
7 and 5.
7 and 5. And of course, you're married to Rebecca Gayheart.
I am.
10 years or so?
Almost
counting?
13.
Almost 13. 10 years and counting.
Yeah.
Hollywood marriages don't always last. What do you think it is about this
they're
one?
like dog years,
Yeah.
right? So we've been married for like 70-something years.
Exactly. What's the, I don't know, there's not necessarily a secret, but what's the connection between you two that's allowed it to, survive?
Purely physical.
Isn't it always? But it must be nice to co-parent because now you have two girls and to be there for them because I'm sure it's busy because she's busy on set and you're busy on set too.
She actually took a lot of time off.
Yeah.
She's been taking time off. I think she's thinking about going back to work, but God bless her. She took time off to take care of the kids, and she does a great job doing it.
Well, we're so excited to see you on The Last Ship, but you didn't waste too much time between Grey's Anatomy and The Last Ship.
Like 3 weeks.
3 weeks, right? What was that transition like? I know it's been several years now, and what are the biggest differences between being on both shows?
It's the physical demands of this show are, Grey's Anatomy. There wasn't too much action going on over there.
Yeah.
And with this show, it's just, I'm kind of carrying the load. Grey's was a huge ensemble. And this is just like, Tom Chandler all day. And it gets, it can be a grind sometimes. But as far as like the characters, I mean, they're polar opposites. Yeah. And a lot of that, gets sort of facilitated by the writers.
Right, absolutely. When you think back on Grey's Anatomy, what stands out to you the most? Like what moments, or is there a scene or an episode that really resonates or that you remember the most?
Well, I mean, I remember a lot of them, but I think and it was my first episode I did in season 2 when I had to stitch myself up. I thought that was the most Mark Sloan thing to do.
Yeah.
Not because he was tough, but just because he didn't trust anybody else.
Sure. Do you feel like you're happy with the way your character left the show?
I am. I think they did a good job with that departure.
Yeah. What about Shonda? You mentioned her before, being in Shondaland. Of course, Shonda Rhimes we're talking about here. What did you learn from her, aside from what you mentioned earlier? What was it like to, just be in her presence and be on one of her shows?
She's great. Shonda's great. I had a great time working with them, and still friends with her to this day. One thing that you do with Shonda is you don't deviate. So that's one of the biggest lessons you learn is to stick to the script.
Yeah, sure. Do you still keep in touch with anyone else from the cast, and if so, who?
Sure, Ellen, Justin.
Yeah. Do you feel like, do you still keep up with the show itself?
I watched 3 episodes of the show while I was on it.
Really?
Well, I was there when it happened, so I didn't need to see it. But yeah, I'm not a big watcher of myself.
So have you watched any episodes of The Last Ship?
I have because they at sometimes will be stupid enough to take my notes when I watch an episode, and I always try to offer. I think there's a better take in there somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah, I do watch this show.
So it's probably a nerve-wracking thing to watch yourself like.
It is, because you start looking at things you shouldn't be looking at that have nothing to do with really anything of importance. So.
Yeah. So I can't have you be up here and not mention McSteamy because because that's your nickname, and when I say it, I can't even take it seriously. But it's how does it feel a few years outside of that world when you hear someone say it to you, and how often does it happen?
I've been called a lot worse, and it never did anything bad for me, that nickname, so I don't mind it. It does get a little bit, it's not what I'm doing now, right. So it does get a little tiring, but it's not something that really upsets me.
Okay. So maybe we'll slip it in later on.
That's
McSteamy.
fine. You can slip it in. I'm not going to be mad at you.
Exactly. So take me back to when you were young and when you were thinking about acting. I understand that you've known for a while that you've wanted to act. I mean, you were in a lot of TV shows that I grew up with personally.
Well, yeah, I always wanted to act when I was a kid. I grew up in San Francisco. And, while San Francisco and Los Angeles are separated by about 400 miles, they're worlds apart. I might as well have been in China. Yeah. And I had no idea. When I was really young, I thought people that were on TV actually worked inside the TV. But it's something that I always wanted to do, just didn't know how to do it. Now, I was a water polo player in high school, and my season ended short. And I knew the girl who was marking attendance for drama class. And I had a 5th period elective I had to fill, so I figured, well, I can leave school at lunch every day. I never have to go to drama class, and she'll mark me there. But I got roped into doing Arthur Miller's All My Sons. I played Joe Keller. They had to put ankle weights around me because I was running around the stage, and the director kept saying, "You're 63 years old. You got to act like you're 63 years old." And I just didn't get it, so they put weights on my legs. And I fell in love with it. And I met somebody who had a manager down in Los Angeles and managed some people up in San Francisco. And I moved down here and struggled for a very long time.
Yeah.
But I learned a lot.
What's the biggest thing that you learned or the best advice you received during that time?
Stay the course. Persevere.
Yeah. Do you still follow that today?
I do. I do. You know, and I second guess myself a lot, as anybody would. And you get discouraged, but you know, there was never a fallback plan for me. This was something I was going to do, something I wanted to do, something I was passionate about, and no matter what, I was going to do it.
You starred or had guest appearances on quite a few favorite shows. I know you've talked about them in the past, but like Saved by the Bell and the volleyball scene.
That was my first job.
And Saved by the Bell still has staying power. People are still, you know, young people are still uncovering that show. And take me back to that gig. Do you remember the audition? Do you remember the scene, shooting the scene, and the volleyball scene?
Yeah, the first shot, I didn't like the take. And I got up and I yelled, "Cut!" And the director, and everybody kind of went, what did he just say? And the director runs over to me and pulls me aside, and I swear to God, this dude was wearing an ascot. So it was my first job, and I was like, I guess they really do look like this. And he started chewing me out about, "Nobody on this set yells cut except for me." And I said, "Relax, pal. I just want to do it again. Let's do it again.
Right.
I'm new here, you know." It was fine, but I was a little traumatized by it.
Did you get to do the scene again?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And I just let him yell "cut" with his thing and the ascot.
Learning lessons early on.
Mm-hmm.
Wonder Years was one of my favorite shows growing up.
That was a great show.
I don't
was a lot
remember
of fun.
the episode that you were, or the episode you were in. Can you remind
The
us?
Nose.
Okay. What was this one?
So I was the quarterback of the football team.
Okay.
And I guess by virtue of that, very popular. And there was a girl that was beautiful, but she had a really big nose, and something about her really attracted me to her, and I took her to a big dance. And everybody then thought she was the coolest because I took her to this dance, and I think Kevin actually ended up having a dance with her.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
That's really sweet. And Roseanne, that was the last one I want to talk to you about. You
Oh,
played like a
boy.
bellhop, and now that
I
show's
did.
coming back.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
It is. Everything's coming back.
Well, because there are no new ideas.
Yeah. So, what do you watch? Is there anything else? I know you don't watch your own stuff, but do you watch any television shows?
I watch a lot of Sports Center.
Okay. Okay.
I'm pretty boring.
Yeah.
Oh. Movies and Sports Center.
Okay. What's the last good movie you saw?
You know, I just recently got into the Marvel movies,
Yeah.
of all things. And some of them are, all the newer ones are executed so well. They're fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you see them on the big screen, or you watch them at home?
No, I watch them at home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about your young girls? They're young. Do they?
Barbie.
Barbie. That's
Yeah.
they're into Barbie.
Barbie and the Backyardigans and.
If you had to sum up season 4 of The Last Ship in your own words, how would you do it?
Very challenging.
Okay.
Very gratifying. And I think at the end of the day, very worth it.
Yeah. You had to take some time off for The Last Ship for depression, and I know you talked about it yesterday, and I just really commend you for talking about it out loud, and I think it's a really important thing to discuss.
I mean, it's a part of my life experience. It's
Yeah.
like a part of my story, and I'm not going to shy away from it. You know, it's kind of my thing.
And how are you feeling now?
I feel great right now.
That's good.
Yeah.
I like what you said about not knowing exactly what there's never one reason, you know? It's not one reason to feel that way sometimes. And I think that a lot of people can relate to that.
Well, I was very conflicted because I didn't think like I had any reason to feel that way.
Yeah.
You know, and you run down the list of things you're grateful for, and you're like, well, I shouldn't be depressed. You know, I started seeing all these doctors like saying, look, something's wrong with me. I don't feel good. I feel like something's wrong. And, you know, it just kind of culminated with this just like period of me not being able to like function, you know, which was kind of odd. And it, you know, also informed me that depression's very real and it's not circumstantial. It's not like you have to have a shitty life to be depressed.
Right.
You know, it can happen to anybody. And so I went and got help.
And now you're feeling great, and we're going to see another season. And when do you kick off season 5? You already started filming it, right?
We're almost done with season 5.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Wow.
We filmed 4 and 5 together.
Oh, I got it. Okay. All right. So we got to wait till season 4 premieres August 20th, and then we got to wait for season 5. But congratulations on the show. But
Thank
I'm
you.
not letting you go just yet.
That's fine.
Because we have a lot of fans in the audience, Last Ship fans,
Good.
McSteamy fans, whatever. Regardless, I'd love to toss the questions out to the crowd
Sure.
first.
Sure.
Hi.
Hi.
Thanks so much for being here today. McSteamy and Tom Chandler, obviously very different characters. Which one would you say you relate to more, and which one do you prefer to play?
It depends on, really depends on which day it is. And I literally, I don't mean that as like a joke. You know, sometimes I feel more Mark Sloan, sometimes I feel more Tom Chandler. Sometimes I wake up in the morning and feel really heroic, and sometimes I don't.
All right. Next up, right here.
Hi.
Hey.
My question is, have you actually met any Navy soldiers or any soldiers that can relate to your character?
You know, yeah, we work very closely with the Navy. They're on set with us at all times. When we're down on the base shooting on the ships, they're all over the place, and we are sort of steeped in their culture. And, you know, the only thing that most of the captains that I run into would say, yeah, of course Tom Chandler would do that. You know, I would do that, right? But the funny thing is, and we still haven't figured out a way around this, is that the captain would never leave the ship. And if there's a burning building and a firefight, like Tom Chandler's the first one off it and into that, you know, into the fray, which is weird, you know? But, yeah, I would think most of the Navy would say that the way Tom Chandler has handled these circumstances is the way we all would.
All right. All right. One last question out here.
Hi. You
Hey.
brought up Marvel. What's your favorite Marvel movie, and who's your favorite Marvel character?
You know, I saw the Civil War movie, the Captain America Civil War movie, and it was unbelievable.
So
Everybody
good.
was really great, but I'm really looking forward to seeing this Black Panther movie.
I'm so ready to see Chadwick.
And I thought Doctor Strange was unbelievable
I haven't seen
too.
it yet.
It was so great.
I wanna
You haven't
see
seen
it.
it?
No.
You have to see it.
Did you see the new Spider-Man?
Not yet.
It's so good.
Is it?
It's
I'll
so
see
good.
it. I'll see it.
Thank you.
Should we cast you in a Marvel movie? Would you ever want to do that?
I have been in a Marvel
Yeah.
movie.
Oh, yeah. That's true.
I was multiple
Yes.
man in
Yes.
X-Men 3.
Yes.
X-Men: The Last Stand,
exactly.
yeah.
I forgot about that. Amazing. Well, maybe we'll see you in another one down the line.
Well, hopefully everybody forgot about it, and then you'll see me in another one.
Well, Eric Dane, thank you so much for coming
Thank you
by
for
today.
having me.
Check out The Last Ship, August 20th on TNT.